Success will never belong to the one who wants it fast. It belongs to the one who stays when it's slow. Everyone wants to win, but most people want it now. And when things take longer than expected, they panic, doubt, or quit. This mindset is the very reason why most people never get what they truly want. Because the truth is simple. Success just takes longer than you think. This isn't about hype or quick tricks. This is about learning how to stay focused when it's not exciting. This is about building the kind of patience and discipline that most people avoid. And that's exactly what the long game Why Success Just Takes So Long is here to teach you. In this audiobook, we're not rushing you, we're building you. If you've ever felt behind, tired, or unsure, this is your reset. Not with noise, but with clarity. It's time to think long-term, act with purpose, and finally, stop starting over. Chapter 1. Accept that real progress feels painfully slow. People come to me frustrated. They are tired. They are confused. They feel like they have been working hard for a long time and nothing seems to be changing. Their effort feels invisible. Their patience feels worn down. They look around and see others moving ahead faster, and they wonder what is wrong with them. This is where the conversation must begin. Real progress feels painfully slow. That is not a mistake. That is not a failure. That is how it works. Most people are not prepared for how slow real growth feels on a daily basis. They expect effort to bring quick relief. They expect discipline to bring fast rewards. They expect consistency to feel exciting. But growth rarely announces itself. It does not send signals that say you are on the right path. Most days it feels quiet. Most days feel ordinary. Many days feel disappointing. The truth is that progress often feels like nothing is happening, even when everything important is happening beneath the surface. Human psychology works against patience. The mind wants proof. The mind wants reassurance. The mind wants results it can see and measure right away. When that does not happen, doubt starts to grow. Doubt whispers that the effort is wasted. Doubt says maybe this is not worth it. Doubt suggests quitting or changing direction too soon. This is why so many people stop just before something meaningful begins to form. Progress is built through repetition. Repetition feels dull. Repetition feels slow. Repetition does not feel heroic. It feels like waking up early again. It feels like doing the work when nobody is watching. It feels like keeping promises to yourself when breaking them would be easier. The mind resists this because there is no immediate emotional payoff. But this is where character is built. This is where future strength is formed. People often say they want success, but what they really want is relief. They want their discomfort to end. They want their effort to be validated quickly. When that does not happen, frustration takes over. The problem is not the work. The problem is the expectation. Expecting fast progress creates unnecessary pain. Accepting slow progress creates calm focus. When someone accepts that progress will feel slow, they stop fighting reality. They stop measuring every day for signs of arrival. They stop asking why it is taking so long. They start asking better questions like, how can today be done well? They shift attention from outcomes to behavior. That shift alone changes everything. Think about personal growth. Changing habits is slow. Building discipline is slow. Improving thinking patterns is slow. Building skills is slow. Trusting yourself again after years of inconsistency is slow. These changes do not show up in dramatic ways. They show up quietly. They show up in choices that feel small. Over time, those choices build momentum. But you cannot feel momentum while it is forming. You only feel momentum after it has already been built. Many people give up because they measure progress too often. They check results daily when results change monthly or yearly. They compare their chapter 1 to someone else chapter 10. That comparison creates impatience. Impatience creates emotional exhaustion. Emotional exhaustion leads to quitting, not because the person is incapable, but because the person expected speed where none exists. Accepting slow progress does not mean lowering standards. It means raising patience. It means understanding that worthwhile results require sustained effort over time. It means respecting the process instead of rushing the outcome. When patience grows, discipline becomes easier. When discipline becomes easier, consistency follows. When consistency follows, results eventually appear. There is a deep emotional challenge here. Slow progress can feel lonely. It can feel discouraging. It can feel unfair. The human desire for recognition is strong. Working quietly without applause can feel empty. This is where inner commitment matters. Commitment is not excitement. Commitment is not motivation. Commitment is a decision to continue even when emotions do not cooperate. Most breakthroughs are preceded by long periods of boredom. This is uncomfortable to accept, but necessary to understand. Boredom does not mean failure. Boredom often means stability. Stability means habits are forming. Habits are the foundation of lasting success. Without habits, progress depends on mood. Mood is unreliable. People often underestimate how long it takes to become the person capable of handling the success they want. Skills take time. Judgment takes time. Emotional control takes time. Confidence that is grounded in experience takes time. If success arrived too early, it would collapse under pressure. The delay is not punishment. The delay is preparation. Slow progress teaches humility. It teaches discipline. It teaches patience. These lessons are not pleasant, but they are valuable. A person who learns to work without immediate reward becomes strong internally. That strength shows later in leadership decisions. It shows in calm reactions under pressure. It shows in resilience when challenges arise. The danger is quitting during the quiet phase. The quiet phase feels like stagnation. It feels like being stuck. But most of the time it is simply growth that has not yet become visible. Roots grow before branches appear. That is not poetry. That is reality. And the same pattern applies to human development. Internal change happens before external change. People who accept slow progress stop negotiating with themselves. They stop making excuses. They stop restarting over and over again. They simply continue. Continuation may not feel exciting, but it is powerful. Continuation builds identity. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. There is relief in acceptance. When a person accepts that progress will be slow, they stop feeling betrayed by time. They stop resenting the journey. They stop asking why success has not arrived yet. They begin to trust that effort is being stored, even if it is not yet visible. That trust reduces anxiety. Reduced anxiety improves focus. Improved focus improves quality of work. Another psychological shift occurs when speed is removed from the equation. People become more honest with themselves. They stop pretending. They stop rushing shortcuts. They stop chasing motivation tricks. They focus on basics. Basics repeated daily are powerful. Basics ignored are costly. Accepting slow progress also reduces comparison. When speed is not the goal, other people's timelines lose power. Comparison loses its grip. Envy fades. Confidence grows quietly. Confidence built this way is stable. It does not disappear when conditions change. The truth is that most success stories leave out the waiting. They highlight the achievement but skip the years of uncertainty. They show the result but hide the repetition. This creates unrealistic expectations. When reality does not match the story, disappointment follows. Understanding the truth about time protects mental health and emotional stability. Progress feels slow because it is supposed to feel slow. If it felt fast, everyone would stay the course. The slowness filters out impatience. It filters out entitlement. It filters out those who want reward without responsibility. Those who remain become stronger than they realize. Every day of effort matters, even when it feels ordinary. Every choice to continue builds something unseen. Every time a person shows up despite frustration, they strengthen their ability to endure. Endurance is not glamorous, but it is necessary. Without endurance, talent fades. Without endurance, opportunity is wasted. Accepting slow progress does not remove discomfort, but it gives discomfort meaning. Meaning makes pain tolerable. Meaning turns effort into purpose. Purpose sustains action long after motivation fades. People who succeed long-term are not always the most gifted. They are often the most patient. They learn to stay when others left. They learn to work without applause. They learn to trust time instead of fighting it. That trust did not come easily. It came through repeated disappointment and continued effort. If progress feels slow, it does not mean you are behind. It means you are early. If effort feels heavy, it does not mean it is useless. It means it is shaping you. If doubt shows up, it does not mean stop. It means stay. The greatest mistake is assuming that slow progress means wrong direction. Often it means the right direction taken seriously. Serious change takes time. Serious growth requires repetition. Serious results demand patience. Accept the pace. Accept the quiet days. Accept the uncertainty. Continue anyway. The person you are becoming is forming even when the results are not visible. Time will reveal what persistence builds. Chapter 2. Stop expecting results before effort compounds. Most people don't lose because they lack potential. They lose because they expect the reward before they've done the work long enough. They start something with excitement, put in a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, and then ask, "Where are the results?" And when nothing shows up, they assume they're doing something wrong. They doubt themselves, they jump to the next thing, and the cycle repeats. But the truth is, simple success demands time before anything pays off. You don't get to see change before you've earned it. That's how the process works. Effort has to compound before it delivers. You don't get to plant a seed and dig it up the next day, asking why it hasn't turned into a tree. You don't get to work out for a month and demand a completely different body. You don't get to read one book and call yourself wise. Everything meaningful, skills, strength, character, results, comes after effort has stacked up consistently over time. The problem is, we live in a world that constantly promises quick results. We're bombarded with before and after photos, overnight success stories, and 5-step formulas that make it sound like life-changing success should be fast and exciting. So, when your reality doesn't match that, it feels like failure. You work for a while, you give it your best, and still, nothing moves. You question yourself. You wonder if it's worth it. But you are not failing. You're just in the part where most people quit. There is a quiet phase in every journey where the work feels invisible. That's the period where you show up, do what you're supposed to do, and see no obvious reward. It's frustrating, it's uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. This is where most people give up. They quit the gym when the scale doesn't move. They stop posting their work when no one reacts. They give up on learning when they don't feel smart right away. But this quiet phase is where the real growth happens. It's when your mind is being trained, your habits are being shaped, your discipline is being tested. These are the layers being built that nobody sees. See, results are always behind the work, always. And when you stop just short of that turning point, you never find out what could have been. You never know how close you really were. You give up right before momentum starts to build. The real tragedy is not the failure. It's quitting before the work had time to do its job. People often ask, How long will it take? That's the wrong question. The better question is, how long am I willing to work before I see anything? Because if the answer is, as long as it takes, now you're actually in the game. Now you're not attached to the outcome, you're attached to the process. And people who stay attached to the process don't burn out the same way. They don't quit for shallow reasons. They keep showing up because they've decided the work is worth it, results or not. You have to understand that effort is not wasted just because it's not immediately rewarded. The gym session you did today still made you stronger, even if the mirror doesn't show it. The study session still built your focus, even if your test score didn't reflect it yet. The videos you posted still helped your confidence, even if they didn't go viral. The small steps you take matter, even if they don't shout back at you right away. Compound effort is working in silence. It's doing its job slowly, quietly, patiently, and then one day it shows up all at once. One of the worst things you can do is keep switching directions because results didn't come fast enough. Starting over again and again just resets the clock. You build some momentum, stop, then start from scratch. You end up spinning in circles, always stuck in the beginning, never reaching the breakthrough because you never gave the work enough time to mature. When you keep jumping from one idea to another, you rob yourself of depth. And depth is where mastery lives. It's where things start to feel effortless. But you can't get there if you're constantly expecting the finish line to be right around the corner. Real results demand maturity. They demand that you stick around even when it's hard to believe in yourself. They require faith in the work, especially when you can't see the proof. You don't get paid in life for what you start. You get paid for what you follow through on. Anyone can begin. Beginning is easy. It's staying with it when you're tired, discouraged, or unsure that's what makes the difference. That's what builds the kind of internal strength that people admire but rarely understand. They'll say you're lucky. They'll say you had talent. But they'll never see the thousands of moments you kept going when nothing was happening. They'll never see the nights you worked while others rested, the mornings you showed up when you felt like quitting, the decisions you made when nobody was clapping. That's the price, not one moment of magic, just thousands of regular moments where you chose not to quit. If you want anything in life to grow your career, your skills, your health, your mindset, you have to give it more time than your emotions are comfortable with. Emotions want fast, they want reassurance. But growth doesn't care about comfort. Growth shows up for people who show up for themselves, day after day, without needing applause. There is power in being patient with your effort. Power in knowing that even if the results don't come today, or next week, or next month, your work is not going to waste. Your habits are stacking up. Your mindset is getting sharper. Your focus is getting stronger, even if it doesn't feel like it. One day you wake up and realize the gap between who you were and who you've become is huge. But it never felt like it was happening. It just slowly, gradually changed you. That's what the compound effect does. This mindset frees you from anxiety. When you stop demanding fast results, you stop judging yourself so harshly. You stop comparing your timeline to someone else's. You stop rushing. And when you stop rushing, your work actually improves. You start giving your full attention. You start doing it with care. You enjoy the process more because you're not constantly asking, "Is it working yet?" This mindset gives you peace. Peace doesn't mean passivity. Peace means power under control. It means knowing you're moving in the right direction, even when it doesn't look like it yet. It means believing in the work, because the work is making you into someone you're proud of, even if nobody else sees it. You want success? Good. Be ready to wait. Be ready to work longer than you planned. Be ready to be misunderstood, underestimated, and overlooked. And keep going anyway. The rewards will come. But only after you've earned them in silence. only after you've stayed long enough for your effort to prove itself. That's the long game. That's the path most people won't take. But it's the path that changes everything. Not because it's easy, not because it's quick, but because it works every time. For those who stay long enough to see it.
Chapter 3. Learn to work without visible rewards. Most people want to feel something in return when they give effort. A thank you, a number on the scale, a view count, a sale, a message that says, "You're doing great." That's human, but the truth is, the work that changes your life often pays you nothing at first. It gives no applause. It offers no pat on the back. It's just you, doing the right thing again and again, while nothing around you seems to care. Learning to work without visible rewards is not just about patience. It's about growing up emotionally. It's about reaching a level where you no longer need someone to clap before you decide to do your best. Where you don't need external proof to keep showing up, because if you only work when you're seen or when it feels exciting, your growth will always be controlled by outside approval. And approval is not consistent. It's never guaranteed. If you rely on it, you give up your power. In the beginning of anything new, results are invisible. You change your diet and your energy improves before your body changes. You practice a skill, and your mind sharpens before anyone notices. You try to shift your mindset, and the battles you win are silent. Nobody knows how many times you could have given up and didn't. There's no scoreboard for that. But that's the work that matters most, the kind done in silence. This is where many people fall apart. They start strong. They feel motivated. But when no praise comes, when no recognition appears, they start to question themselves. What's the point? Why try so hard? Maybe I'm just wasting my time. That voice grows louder when rewards don't show up quickly. And the only thing that quiets it is maturity. The kind of maturity that says, I'm not doing this for attention. I'm doing this because it matters to me. Discipline is not about being strict. It's about being driven by purpose, not by short-term emotion. Emotion says, I don't feel like it today. Purpose says, that doesn't matter. When you live that way, you become dangerous, in the best way, because most people are held back by their need for instant feedback. When you break free from that need, you move forward while others are stuck waiting for signs. Success is not built in the spotlight, it's built in the quiet, early mornings when no one's awake, late nights when you're tired but finish anyway, days when you don't feel inspired but still honor your word. That's what builds character. That's what builds something unshakable. If you keep waiting for permission from the world, you'll be stuck forever. Working without visible rewards teaches you the difference between attention and impact. Attention is loud and fast and exciting. Impact is slow and steady and sometimes invisible for a long time. But impact lasts. It sticks. It creates change that doesn't fade when the noise stops. People who chase attention burn out. People who build impact leave legacies. So how do you keep going when there's nothing to show yet? You get clear on your reasons. You remind yourself why you started. You stop tying your self-worth to outcomes and start tying it to effort. Did you show up today? Did you follow through on what you said you would do? Did you do it even when it wasn't fun? That's what you measure. That's what you celebrate. Not the numbers, not the recognition, but the fact that you are becoming the kind of person who keeps promises to themselves. When you start to think like this, everything changes. You don't panic when progress is slow. You don't fall apart when nobody notices. You don't chase applause, you find peace in the work itself. And over time, the people who do that build something rare, internal stability. That kind of stability makes you powerful in a quiet way. You don't need to prove anything. You just do the work, every day, with intention, with consistency, with quiet strength. Eventually, yes, the results come. They always do. But they come much later than most expect. And if you're not mentally ready for that delay, you'll quit too soon. You'll walk away from something that was actually working. It just hadn't revealed itself yet. This is why learning to work without visible rewards is one of the most important skills you'll ever build. It protects you from quitting early. It keeps you focused when emotions try to pull you off track. No one sees the hours you spend trying to improve. No one sees the nights you spend rethinking your choices. No one sees the fear you face or the battles you fight inside your own head. That's invisible effort. But invisible effort creates visible change over time, not right away, and not when you expect it. Which is why you can't let the lack of recognition stop you. You're not invisible. You're just in the season where the work hasn't spoken yet. There's something powerful about becoming someone who doesn't need to be told they're doing a good job. You just know. You know because you were there. You know what it cost to keep going. You know how hard it was to not quit. That kind of pride is better than any external praise. That's real confidence, built from effort, not from someone else's opinion. You'll meet people who tell you to slow down, take it easy. Don't push too hard if nobody's noticing. Be careful who you listen to. Most of them stopped when it got quiet. Most of them never made it past the part where rewards were delayed. You can't take advice from people who gave up too early. You have to take it from those who kept going when it got hard. Those are the voices that matter. And remember this, not everything you do will be seen, but it's all seen by you. You are the one who knows what you gave. You are the one who knows what you sacrificed. Don't downplay that. Honor it. Respect your own path. And keep walking. Even when the road feels empty, you have to become the kind of person who shows up fully, even when no one claps. Who writes the words even when no one reads them. Who trains when no one's watching. Who practices when it feels like nobody cares. Because someday the rewards will come, but by then, they won't define you. You'll already know who you are. And that's the real win. Not the trophy, not the money, not the praise, but the fact that you built something solid when no one was watching. You prove to yourself that you're not here for attention. You're here for growth, for depth, for mastery. That kind of power doesn't fade. It follows you everywhere. In your work, in your relationships, in your life. So keep working. Keep showing up. Even when there's no audience. Even when there's no feedback. Even when it feels like no one notices. Because the truth is, the person you become in those moments, that's the person success is waiting for. Not the version of you who shows up only when the rewards are visible, but the version who keeps showing up. Because it's who you are now, and that changes everything.
Chapter 4. Commit to years, not weeks of growth. Growth that lasts never fits into a short timeline. You can't transform your life in a few weeks. You can't master your mind in a month. You can't develop real strength, wisdom, or skill in a few motivational bursts. You have to commit to years, not because growth is slow, but because real change needs time to settle in, time to be tested, time to become who you are, not just what you do. We live in a culture obsessed with speed, quick wins, rapid results, 30-day challenges, and because of that, people step into personal growth with unrealistic timelines. They treat change like a project instead of a lifelong process. They give something 6 weeks, and if they don't feel different by then, they assume it's not working. But change isn't about feeling different, it's about becoming different. And becoming someone new, truly new, takes more time than most are willing to give. When you commit to years, something powerful happens. Your mindset shifts. You stop rushing.
You stop watching the clock. You stop looking for shortcuts. You get serious. You start building systems, not just chasing results. You make peace with the process instead of arguing with how long it's taking. That mental shift alone is worth everything. The truth is, most people never really get started. They dip their toes in, they try something for a while, and the minute it gets slow or difficult or boring, they retreat. They were never committed. They were just hoping it would be fast, hoping it would be easy, hoping it would fix them quickly. But growth doesn't respond to hope. It responds to endurance. It meets people who decide to stay in the game no matter how long it takes. You can't fake long-term effort. You either show up again and again, or you don't. And life has a way of rewarding the ones who stay, not because they're better, not because they're lucky, but because they stayed long enough to finally understand what they were doing. Time gives you lessons you can't learn any other way. Time exposes your patterns. It humbles your ego. It makes you face who you are under pressure. You don't get those gifts if you quit every time the timeline feels too long. Committing to years teaches you how to be consistent even when nothing feels urgent. It teaches you to put in the work on quiet days when no one is watching, when nothing big is happening. That's how you build identity. Slowly, steadily, piece by piece. Most of your transformation won't be dramatic. It will be quiet. It will happen when you choose discipline on a Tuesday that feels just like the last. It will happen when you get back up after a bad week instead of throwing everything away. When you give yourself years, you also remove pressure. You stop needing every day to feel perfect. You stop needing this month to be the turning point. That freedom gives you room to breathe. It gives you space to try, to fail, to learn. It creates a sustainable pace, one that doesn't rely on energy spikes or external motivation. Most breakthroughs are not made in the first few weeks. They happen in year 2, year 3, sometimes even year 5, and they often show up in ways you didn't expect. Maybe you started with the goal of building discipline and ended up developing a deep sense of self-respect. Maybe you began by chasing a physical goal and found emotional healing along the way. That's the power of time. It gives growth a chance to go deep, not just wide. Some of the most meaningful changes will happen without you noticing. You'll react to a situation differently. You'll handle stress better. You'll look back one day and realize you no longer think the way you used to. That kind of transformation doesn't announce itself. It just shows up quietly and permanently. You don't get that kind of change in short bursts. You get it by staying in the work longer than your feelings want you to. If you want to grow, you have to be willing to look foolish for a while. You have to be okay with being the beginner, with being inconsistent in the beginning, with failing more than you succeed. Most people are too proud to start from zero, so they never start at all. But everyone starts with no clue what they're doing. Everyone starts awkward. That's not weakness. That's the entry fee. Staying with it, that's where confidence comes from. That's where you earn the right to say, I've changed. When you look at people you admire, you're seeing years of private effort. You're seeing habits they built long before anyone noticed. You're seeing choices they made on days that looked pointless. You're seeing growth that was earned through long seasons of quiet work. And you have that same potential, but only if you play the long game. Long-term commitment builds character. It teaches you how to handle boredom. It teaches you how to handle failure without shutting down. It shows you how to lead yourself even when nobody is holding you accountable. These aren't just personal development buzzwords. They're actual skill, and they only develop over time through real effort, through repetition, through the kind of patience that says, I'll keep going even if it takes longer than I thought. Some months will feel empty. Some seasons will feel like nothing is working. And during those times, everything in you will want to walk away. But if you stay, you'll realize something important. You were building something the whole time. It just wasn't visible yet. You don't need to see immediate results to know you're on the right track. You just need to know the work is honest. If it's honest, it's worth doing. If it's honest, it's shaping you, even when it doesn't show. Don't chase the feeling of growth. Chase the commitment to it. Build your life around routines that support your goals, not around moods that shift daily. Don't wait for motivation to return. Design your day so motivation becomes optional. That's what long-term thinkers do. They build systems that outlast temporary emotion. They don't rely on hype. They rely on standards. Give yourself permission to take longer than others. Your journey isn't late. It's just real. You're not supposed to be perfect in year one. You're not supposed to have it all figured out after a few tries. Take pride in being someone who continues, not someone who rushes. Take pride in the fact that you're choosing the harder, more meaningful path. That's rare. That's valuable. That's how real change happens. Committing to years doesn't mean you wait around doing nothing. It means you take small steps every day without needing them to feel magical. It means you build brick by brick, not all at once. It means you keep promises to yourself even when nobody notices. It means you accept that the most important things in life are earned slowly. If you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. If you're tired of feeling lost, stay long enough to find clarity. If you're tired of seeing no progress, give it more time, not less. And if you're serious about change, commit to years. That's when the real shift happens. That's when the old version of you fades away. That's when the person you've always wanted to become finally starts to show up, not as an idea, but as who you really are.
Chapter 5. Detach self-worth from short-term outcomes. When you connect your self-worth to short-term outcomes, you hand over your confidence to things you can't fully control. You make your mood depend on a number, a reaction, a result. You end up on an emotional roller coaster, feeling good only when things go your way, and feeling broken the moment they don't. That's a dangerous place to live from, because no matter how consistent you are, no matter how strong your work ethic is, there will always be moments where results don't match your effort. And if every dip in outcome feels like a personal failure, you'll never have the peace or clarity to keep moving forward. The truth is, your self-worth can't be tied to external feedback. Not if you want to grow, not if you want to last. You have to learn to separate your value as a person from your performance in the moment. You are not your last result. You are not your last mistake. You are not your follower count, your grade, your income, or your performance review. Those are data points. They're information, but they are not you. Short-term outcomes can be misleading. You can do everything right and still get a bad result. You can make the right decisions and still lose a game. You can show up with full effort and still not get picked. Life doesn't always give instant validation. Sometimes it tests your patience. Sometimes it teaches through delay. If you take every slow result as proof you're not enough, you'll constantly be doubting yourself, and that self-doubt kills progress. Real self-worth has to be built from the inside. It comes from showing up for yourself, not from the applause you get afterward. It comes from knowing you followed through when no one was looking. It comes from honoring your own word. When you build identity around values instead of results, you become grounded. You don't shake every time something doesn't go your way. You don't fall apart when life pushes back. That's not arrogance. That's inner stability. You don't need to ignore outcomes. They matter. They give you feedback. They help you improve. But there's a big difference between learning from outcomes and letting them define you. You can learn without self-judgment. You can adjust your strategy without turning against yourself. You can take a loss without becoming a loser. That's the kind of emotional maturity most people never build, because they never stop measuring themselves by how quickly they succeed. The moment you tie your worth to performance, you become a slave to the scoreboard.
If the numbers go up, you feel proud. If they go down, you feel ashamed. But that makes you reactive. It turns every day into a vote on who you are. That kind of pressure will wear you down. Even if you're strong, it drains joy. It kills curiosity. It makes growth feel like a punishment instead of a gift. One of the most powerful things you can do is decide that your value is non-negotiable. That means whether today's outcome is great or terrible, you are still worthy of respect. You still belong in the room. You still have potential. That decision gives you freedom. Freedom to try. Freedom to experiment. Freedom to fail. And get back up without feeling like you've lost who you are. There will be days when you give everything you have and still feel like it wasn't enough. That's normal. That's life. But those are the days where you practice detachment. You step back and say, that didn't go how I hoped, but it doesn't touch my worth. Then you move forward, with lessons, with grace, with strength that comes from not needing to prove anything. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means being committed without being controlled. You still care. You still want to win. You still want to grow. But you don't let results dictate your identity. You learn to hold your goals with open hands. You give your best and let go of the rest. This shift isn't easy, especially if you've spent years tying your self-esteem to performance. Maybe you grew up being praised for achievement. Maybe you learned that success equals love. Maybe you've been afraid to slow down because you thought people only respected you when you were performing at a high level. If that's the case, detaching might feel like losing your edge. But what you're really doing is regaining your center. You'll know you're growing when a bad day doesn't make you question your purpose. You'll know you're stronger when failure doesn't lead to shame. You'll know your identity is maturing when silence from others doesn't make you feel invisible. That's what detachment builds. A calm confidence that doesn't rely on winning to feel whole. This kind of mindset also improves performance over time, because when you're not afraid of what a result might say about you, you take better risks. You're more focused. You're not distracted by fear. You're able to learn faster, because you're not defending your ego. You start to see outcomes as information, not identity. You can measure outcomes without measuring your worth. You can track your progress without making it personal. That's a skill. And like any skill, it takes time to develop. You'll slip up. You'll overreact. You'll feel discouraged. That's fine. The key is to notice it, reset, and try again. Over time, the gap between result and self-esteem will grow. And that space will give you room to breathe. Detach so you can focus. Detach so you can create without pressure. Detach so you can give your full energy without fear of judgment. It's not about being emotionless, it's about being emotionally free. The real test of self-worth comes when everything goes quiet, when no one is clapping, when things aren't working, when you're not winning. That's when you find out whether you actually value yourself or whether you were just feeding off approval. If you can hold your head high during those seasons, you've built something real. You're not a number. You're not a trend. You're not a single performance. You are a full, complex, evolving person. And no short-term outcome can summarize you. Don't shrink yourself down to one metric. Don't reduce your identity to one moment. Detach. Let results be what they are. Feedback, not final judgment. And then keep going. With clarity, with strength, with a deeper kind of peace. The kind that only comes when you know who you are, even when the world doesn't notice.
Chapter 6. Repeat boring actions longer than feels comfortable. Most people don't struggle with talent, they struggle with repetition. Not the exciting kind,
The boring kind. The kind where you do the same simple task over and over again, and it feels like it's going nowhere. The kind where nothing changes, no one notices, and even you start wondering if it's making a difference. That's where most people give up. Not because they're weak, but because they believed progress should feel exciting. But if you want to grow for real, you have to repeat boring actions longer than feels comfortable. The uncomfortable part doesn't come from pain or stress. It comes from monotony. You set your goals, you design your routine, you show up the first few days full of energy. Then the routine becomes familiar. Then it becomes dull. Eventually, it becomes frustrating. You start thinking, this can't be it. There has to be something more advanced than this. But there isn't. That's the catch. Growth is built on ordinary actions, repeated past the point of motivation, repeated until your body does it without permission, repeated until it's no longer a task, it's part of who you are. There is no shortcut around this. The body doesn't transform because you tried something intense once. The mind doesn't sharpen from one breakthrough moment. Progress doesn't happen through inspiration. It happens through doing the same thing over and over, while trusting it's working even when you can't see it. The gym sessions that don't feel productive, the journaling that feels forced, the quiet practice where nothing clicks. These are not wasted moments. These are the exact places where consistency is built. The real enemy is the craving for novelty. The voice in your head that says, this again. That voice doesn't want progress, it wants stimulation. And if you listen to it, you'll keep restarting. You'll switch systems. You'll try a different plan. You'll chase the new thing. And every time you start over, you trade away all the progress you quietly built. You start the clock from zero again and again, not because your method didn't work, but because it didn't excite you anymore. But boredom doesn't mean failure. Boredom means you're getting close to mastery. The people who win are the ones who get good at being bored without quitting. There's nothing thrilling about waking up early again for the 10th day in a row. There's no applause when you study an extra hour while your friends relax. No one claps when you say no to distractions. But these moments compound. They aren't loud, but they are powerful. The boring parts are what separate dabblers from doers. Everyone can start, only a few stay through the quiet stretch. Comfort is the trap. When something gets repetitive, you'll start thinking about giving yourself a break. You'll tell yourself you deserve to ease up. You'll justify it with stories like balance, or I'll come back to it later. But the truth is, when things get boring, that's exactly when you need to push through. Not because you're being punished, but because you're being trained. That discomfort isn't a sign to stop. It's a sign to keep going, because every day you show up without needing it to be fun is another day your discipline grows stronger than your feelings. You can't build something great without repetition. You can't build something great without repetition. You can't build something real if you only show up when you feel good. You can't get to the next level if you're always avoiding boredom. If you want results others don't have, you need habits others won't stick to. You need to make peace with repetition. You need to see it as a signal that you're on the right path, not a reason to change path. Ask yourself this: are you willing to do the same boring action every day for the next year if you knew it would change your life? If the answer is yes, then the path is already clear. If the answer is no, it's not a motivation problem, it's an expectation problem. You want change without the dull repetition that real change requires. That doesn't make you lazy. It makes you normal. But normal doesn't lead to transformation. That takes something different. When you're in the middle of doing the same task again, and you feel nothing, that's not a sign that it's not working. It's just your brain adapting. Progress is happening under the surface, but the brain wants novelty because novelty is easier to feel. That's why people keep switching workouts. changing diets, jumping from project to project. It's not that they're failing, it's that they're addicted to stimulation, and the second it fades, they assume they've made a mistake. But if you stay in it, something else begins to happen. The boring actions turn into habits. The habits turn into automatic behaviors. What once took effort now becomes effortless. You move forward even when you're not trying to push. That's where the magic happens. When the effort becomes identity. But you only reach that point if you stick with it long enough. No one talks about the hours spent practicing the same skill over and over with no progress. No one celebrates the meals you made that weren't exciting but were consistent with your goal. No one sees the work you do when your energy is low and your results are invisible. But those are the days that count most. Not the highlight moments. Not the milestones. But the days where you could have walked away and didn't. There's power in doing the simple thing again. There's power in ignoring the voice that tells you to switch it up just for the sake of excitement. There's power in saying, yes, it's boring, and yes, I'm doing it anyway. That mindset builds something deeper than motivation. It builds resilience. It builds stability. It builds habits that carry you through the days where everything feels flat. You have to respect repetition. You have to respect it enough to do it when it stops feeling rewarding. Because repetition is what shapes skill. Repetition is what rewires your nervous system. Repetition is what makes success feel normal. But it takes longer than you think, and it feels more uncomfortable than you expect. Don't chase what's exciting, chase what's effective. And what's effective is almost always built on boring things. If you can get yourself to fall in love with boredom, you can build anything. You can create anything. You can outlast the noise. Most people are chasing highs. You need to build roots. And roots grow slow. They grow in silence. They grow through the repeated choice to stay, to keep showing up, to keep doing the work without needing it to feel thrilling. You don't need more inspiration. You need to do the thing you said you'd do. Again and again. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it's not exciting. Even when nobody's watching. That's where the real change begins. Not in the highlight reels, but in the quiet repetition of a boring action. Done with purpose. Done without praise. Done with grit. That's the long game. That's the cost of real success. And once you stop expecting every step to feel amazing, you start moving with power. Not because you're motivated, but because you've decided. And that decision changes everything. Chapter 7. Stay invested after others quit early. Everyone wants to start strong. Everyone is fired up in the beginning. When a goal is fresh and full of promise, people rush in with energy and confidence. They talk big, set ambitious targets, and visualize the finish line. But something always happens between the excitement of starting and the satisfaction of finishing. Reality sets in. Work piles up. Results take longer than expected. The routine feels repetitive, and that's when most people walk away. Not because they don't care, but because they weren't ready to stay after the easy part ended. But staying invested when others quit is what changes everything. That moment when you're tempted to give up, that's the fork in the road. One path feels good now and leads nowhere. The other is slower, lonelier, and full of doubt. But it leads somewhere real. If you want something meaningful, you can't just show up while it's convenient. You have to show up after motivation leaves, after progress slows down, after others walk away. That's the part most never see through. When someone quits early, it's rarely because they couldn't keep going. It's because they expected progress to feel better than it does. They thought growth would be quicker. They thought it would always be exciting. They weren't prepared for the emotional weight of consistency. So when it got heavy, they dropped it. And that's when the few who stay begin to separate themselves, not by doing more, but by doing it longer. You can be the most talented person in the room and still lose to someone who just refuses to leave. Staying power matters more than starting strength. Time rewards the person who sticks around, not just through random luck, but because staying longer means more chances to improve, to adjust, to figure things out. When others give up, you keep learning. When they stop refining their skills, you keep sharpening yours. Over time, that builds a gap they can't catch up to. You don't need to be the fastest learner or the most gifted. You just need to be committed enough to outlast the wave of people who rush in, crash early, and never return. This isn't about proving something to the world. It's about honoring what you said you wanted. It's about understanding that your vision doesn't need to be constantly exciting to be worth it. The work won't always thrill you. That doesn't make it less important. Every meaningful result in life takes longer than you want it to. Building a career, creating art, healing, becoming consistent, learning how to think clearly, mastering your craft. None of these are fast processes, and the sooner you accept that, the stronger your focus becomes. When you stop demanding speed, you start respecting the grind. When you stop comparing yourself to people who burned out 3 months in, you start building something with depth. There will always be noise around you. People who started with you will slow down. Some will disappear. Some will chase something shinier. Some will start over again and again, looking for the shortcut that doesn't exist. Don't join them. You're not missing out by staying the course. You're avoiding the trap they fell into. The trap of starting over every time it gets hard. Long-term commitment is quiet. It's not dramatic. It doesn't show up in perfect Instagram stories or viral moments. It shows up in silent decisions. You wake up and choose your path again. You sit down and do the work again. You adjust your mindset again, not because you feel like it, but because you've decided this matters to you. That decision, made consistently, is what wins. When you're the one who stays after others leave, you start to notice something. The process starts to feel light, not because it's easier, but because you've grown. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once made you doubt yourself now builds your confidence. You start trusting your own consistency. You realize you don't need to rush. You're in this for the long haul. It's easy to feel discouraged when people around you move on. But ask yourself, did they leave because the path was wrong, or because they weren't ready to walk it for long enough? Most of the time, it's the second one. People quit things that would have worked. They just didn't stay long enough to let it work. If you can make it past that emotional wall, you've already won half the battle. Staying invested doesn't mean you don't struggle. It means you choose to struggle in the right direction. It means you give yourself permission to keep showing up even when the rewards are delayed. You stop tying your effort to fast payoffs. You start trusting that effort, sustained effort, eventually reshapes your reality. This mindset doesn't just help you succeed, it protects your peace. Because you're no longer pulled in every direction. You don't need to chase every new trend. You don't need to switch paths every few months to feel like you're doing something. You know where you're going, and you're okay taking your time to get there. That confidence comes from time in the game, not from noise, not from praise, from the fact that you stayed when others didn't. You'll reach a point where people start asking how you did it. They'll look at what you've built and assume something clicked sudden. They won't remember the months or years where you were just showing up quietly, doing what needed to be done without applause. That's okay. You weren't doing it for attention. You were doing it because you made a commitment to yourself, and you kept. If you want to stand out, don't chase attention. Just keep going after others. Stop. That alone puts you in rare company. Most people don't fail because they never had what it takes. They fail because they stopped showing up. They forgot that greatness is earned through ordinary effort sustained longer than feels necessary. You're not falling behind by staying consistent. You're setting a foundation that others will envy later. While they chase fast outcomes, you build something that lasts. While they look for hacks, you develop skills. While they seek praise, you grow in silence. That kind of depth can't be taken from you. It stays, even when the world shifts. Remember, your path doesn't need to be filled with excitement every day. It just needs to be real. It needs to matter enough that you don't leave it just because the pace is slow or the rewards aren't instant. There is power in staying. There is strength in continuing. There is peace in knowing you're doing what most aren't willing to do. Stay when it's boring. Stay when it's quiet. Stay when others quit. Because every day you keep going, you're getting closer. Not just to the result, but to the version of yourself who's capable of handling it. That's what this is really about. You're not just working on a goal. You're becoming someone who finished, and that kind of person changes everything.
Chapter 8. Build discipline that outlasts motivation cycles. Discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears, and motivation always disappears. It's temporary, it comes in waves. One day you feel unstoppable. The next, you don't even want to get out of bed. If you only take action when motivation is high, your progress will be unstable and short-lived. You'll start things and never finish them. You'll feel inspired for a moment, then drift back to your old habits. The key to lasting growth is to build discipline that works even when your emotions don't. Motivation is about how you feel. Discipline is about what you've decided. Discipline doesn't care if it's a good day or a bad one. It doesn't wait for the mood to be right. It just asks what needs to be done, and then it does it. That kind of consistency is what actually changes your life, not bursts of inspiration, not big promises, not flashy goals, just showing up when you said you would, no matter what. Most people rely on motivation because it's easier. It feels good. It gives you energy. But what happens when it fades? What happens when you wake up and the excitement is gone? That's the moment discipline steps in. Or you quit. It's not that people are weak, it's that they never built something stronger than their emotions. They never created a structure that holds up when their feelings crash. To build discipline, you need to create systems that reduce decision-making. The more choices you leave up to how you feel, the more likely you'll drift. Discipline is not about doing everything perfectly, it's about reducing friction. It's about building routines that run, whether or not you feel inspired. You don't argue with yourself about doing the work. You don't check your mood to decide if today is the day. You already decided, and that decision holds. This doesn't mean being cold or robotic. It means being rooted. It means choosing your actions based on your vision, not your feelings. It means training yourself to do what matters even when your mind offers excuses. That doesn't make you harsh. That makes you dependable, and dependable people go further than those who wait for a spark to carry them. Discipline is earned in small moments. You're not born with it. You build it every time you follow through. You build it when you get up on the days you'd rather sleep in. You build it when you stick to your plan, even when no one is watching. You build it when you complete a task, not because you're pumped, but because it aligns with who you want to become. Every one of those moments is a brick in the foundation. There will be days when motivation hits and everything feels easy. Enjoy those days. Use that energy. But don't depend on them. They're not reliable. What's reliable is the rhythm you build through discipline. What's reliable is a plan that operates without needing emotional permission. When you live like that, you stop chasing highs and start building strength. Too often people judge their progress by how motivated they feel. But motivation is a feeling, and feelings are constantly changing. You can't let them steer your life. If you do, you'll move in circles. Discipline is what creates direction. It gives you the power to say, even if I don't feel like it, I will act in alignment with my goals. That decision removes the back and forth. It silences the internal debate. Start with something small.
One action that you can repeat every day. Make it simple but non-negotiable. Do it even when you're tired. Do it even when you don't see immediate results. Over time, that single action becomes part of you. It stops being a decision and starts being automatic. That's discipline. Not dramatic. Not complicated. Just consistent action backed by purpose. You don't need to be motivated every day. You just need to honor your commitment every day. You just need to remember why you started and let that memory speak louder than your resistance. And when the motivation comes back, and it will, you'll already be moving. You won't need it to get started. You'll just let it fuel what's already in motion. Building discipline also means removing distractions. Not because distractions are evil, but because they weaken your focus. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, you teach yourself to break promises. That's not about guilt. That's about self-trust. Discipline builds trust with yourself. It says, I do what I say. That kind of trust is more valuable than any quick win. It gives you strength during setbacks. It reminds you that you are capable, even when results are slow. People wait for motivation to come back before they start again. But that delay creates more damage than they realize. They pause their effort. They lose their rhythm. They forget their reason. Then they restart with less energy and more doubt. Discipline breaks that pattern. It keeps you steady. It protects your momentum. It holds the line when everything else is pulling you away from your path. One of the best things you can do for your future is to stop chasing motivation and start creating systems. A system is a set of actions you follow. Not because they're always exciting, but because they work. Your system doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be repeatable. It just has to get you moving, without relying on feeling good first. When you show up consistently, something else happens. You start to respect yourself more. You start to see yourself as someone who follows through. That identity shift changes your behavior. You start making better choices because your actions are aligned with who you believe you are, and the more you act with discipline, the more that belief solidifies. Motivation might get you going, but discipline is what gets you results. It's what keeps you learning. It's what keeps you improving when it would be easier to stop. And once you understand that, you stop waiting for the perfect mood to take action. You act first. You create the mood later. That's how you take control. Discipline gives you the power to keep showing up when it's boring, when it's hard, when it's quiet, when no one is cheering, when everything in you says pause. Discipline says continue. That voice is quiet, but strong. And if you listen to it enough, it becomes your normal. You don't have to force it. It just becomes how you live. The world will always praise moments of inspiration. People will always talk about breakthroughs. But what they don't see is the repetition that led up to those moments. The early mornings, the skipped temptations, the kept promises. That's discipline. Quiet, consistent, and far more powerful than anything motivation could ever offer. The next time you don't feel like doing what you need to do, remember this. You don't have to feel like it. You just have to begin. The action itself creates momentum. The momentum builds consistency, and consistency builds results. Don't wait for the feeling. Build the habit. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you want. Then it reminds you to act like it. That's how change happens. Not in a single burst of motivation, but in the daily decision to stay the course, especially when it's hardest to do so.
Chapter 9. Measure growth by consistency, not speed. Everyone wants to grow, but not everyone knows how to measure it. Most people look for speed. They want fast changes, fast results, fast recognition. They chase visible progress. They want to see proof that they're moving forward every week, every day. When that doesn't happen, they assume something is wrong. But real growth
doesn't work like that. The smartest thing you can do is stop measuring how fast you're moving and start measuring how often you're showing up. Growth is not about how quick the change happens. It's about how consistently you're willing to keep doing what matters. When you make consistency your measuring stick, everything gets clearer. You stop asking, "Am I there yet?" and start asking, "Did I show up today?" That question is more honest. It puts the focus on what you control. You can't control how fast your progress shows. You can't control how quickly results arrive, but you can control your actions. You can control your choices. You can control whether or not you stay in the process when it gets dull, slow, or uncertain. That's where real power comes from. Growth rarely announces itself. You don't wake up one morning with a loud sign telling you you've improved. Most of the time you don't even notice it happening. It creeps in quietly. It hides inside your routines. It hides inside the way you talk to yourself now versus how you did a year ago. It hides in the space between your old habits and the ones you've been showing up for day after day. And you'll miss all of that if you're only looking for speed. You'll overlook real change because it doesn't move fast enough to impress you. There is nothing wrong with wanting results, but if you let speed become the goal, you'll constantly feel behind. You'll constantly compare your timeline to someone else's. You'll think you're not doing enough, even when you're giving everything you've got. You'll rush through valuable stages of growth just to feel like you're making progress, and you'll miss the lessons that actually create strength. Consistency gives you time to learn, reflect, and adjust. Speed often skips those parts. It pushes you forward without depth. The people who make lasting changes aren't always the ones who start fast. They're the ones who stay consistent when others burn out. They're not chasing a finish line. They're building something that lasts. And to build something that lasts, you have to be okay with slow progress. You have to be okay with repeating small actions. You have to be okay with putting in the work, even when it doesn't feel impressive. There's a certain pride that comes from being someone who shows up no matter what, not someone who needs everything to feel perfect, not someone who gives up when momentum dips, but someone who keeps doing the work because they've decided it matters. That kind of consistency builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you show up, you prove to yourself that you can count on you, that you don't need external validation to keep going, that you're in this for the long haul. Speed can trick you. You might sprint for a few weeks and feel great, but then something throws you off, a setback, a bad day, a break in momentum, and you lose everything because you never built a foundation. Consistency is the opposite. It's not glamorous, it's not fast, but it's stable. It builds something underneath the surface that doesn't crumble when life gets chaotic. Think about any area of your life you want to improve. It could be your health, your focus, your confidence, your craft. If you only show up when it feels exciting, nothing sticks. But if you show up on the ordinary days, if you stick with it during slow seasons, if you keep going even when you don't see results, something powerful happens. You grow in ways that speed could never give you. People often say, "I want to be better," but what they really mean is, "I want to be better now." That mindset leads to pressure. It leads to frustration. It leads to quitting early because the results didn't show up fast enough. But when you shift the goal from fast to steady, everything changes. You're not in a rush. You're not competing with anyone. You're not tied to someone else's pace. You're just focused on doing the next right thing, again and again. This doesn't mean you never track progress. It means you track the right kind. Instead of asking how much weight you lost this week, ask how many meals you followed through on. Instead of asking how much money you made this month, ask how many actions you took to achieve future income. Instead of asking how many people noticed your work, ask how many days you gave your best, regardless of who was watching. These are the questions that build real progress, because they point to habits, they point to consistency, and consistency always wins. One of the most dangerous traps is comparing your speed to someone else's success. You see someone further along and think you should be moving faster, but you don't know their story. You don't know how long they've been at it. You don't know the sacrifices they've made. Comparing timelines is useless. The only timeline that matters is yours. The only progress that counts is the kind you can sustain. Growth isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about becoming the kind of person who lives with purpose. That kind of person doesn't just work hard for a few weeks. They build habits. They create structure. They show up when it's hard. They're not concerned with fast wins. They're committed to real change. And real change shows up quietly, behind the scenes, in the way you carry yourself, the way you think, the way you respond to pressure. You'll know you're growing when your behavior matches your values more often, when your emotions don't control your effort, when you stop negotiating with your excuses, when you trust the process enough to keep going even when there's no applause. That's not something you get from rushing. That's something you build through consistency. One day at a time. There will be seasons where progress feels slow, where it feels like nothing is happening, where you question whether you're getting anywhere at all. In those seasons, don't look at the outcome, look at your actions. Are you still showing up? Are you still honoring your plan? Are you still doing the work you said you would? If the answer is yes, then you're doing exactly what you need to do. The results will come, not all at once, but steadily, in their own time. You don't need to be the fastest. You don't need to impress anyone. You just need to be consistent. Let others chase speed. Let them race to the finish line. You're building something that doesn't collapse. You're building something that grows stronger the longer you stay with it. And in the end, that's what matters. Not how fast you got there, but how deeply you grew along the way.
Chapter 10. Keep going when nothing proves it works. There will come a time in every journey when nothing makes sense. You've shown up for weeks, maybe months. You've tried your best to stay consistent. You've sacrificed your comfort. You've followed the steps. You've been patient, but still, nothing. No clear progress. No big results. No sign that all this effort is doing anything at all. That's the part nobody warns you about. The part where you're doing everything right, and yet it feels like nothing is changing. This is when most people stop. Not because they're lazy, not because they don't care, but because they can't find proof that it's working. And without that proof, it becomes painfully easy to doubt everything. But this is also the moment that matters most. When nothing is confirming your progress, and you still choose to keep going, that's where everything shifts. Not immediately, not dramatically, but deeply, quietly. You don't grow when things are easy to believe in. You grow when your belief is tested. You grow when the only thing keeping you going is the decision you made to not give up on yourself. You don't get real breakthroughs without passing through long stretches of doubt. Doubt in your strategy. Doubt in your pace. Doubt in your ability. That doubt will try to convince you to change directions, to lower your standards, to chase something that looks easier. It will try to make quitting feel like relief. And the only way to move forward is to ignore the noise and trust the invisible work. Because here's the truth. Most growth happens in silence. Most improvement happens in moments that don't feel special. You can't always measure it in real time. You won't always feel different. You won't always see clear progress. That doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means you're in the hard part. The part where patience becomes more important than proof. It's in this space that discipline is tested and identity is formed. Too often we think progress is a straight line. Do the work, get the result. But that's not how it works in the long game. Progress is uneven. It builds in the background while you're busy thinking it isn't.
and then seemingly out of nowhere, it shows up. Not because it happened suddenly, but because it finally became visible. What you didn't realize is that your effort was working the whole time, just not in the way you expected, just not on your schedule. It's hard to keep going without feedback. We're wired to look for signs, for signals. We want reassurance that we're on the right path. But this desire for proof can become a trap. If you rely on it, you'll never last, because there will always be seasons where the work feels invisible. And if you can't move through those seasons, you'll never see what's on the other side. This is where commitment takes over. Commitment doesn't ask for constant validation. Commitment doesn't need proof. Commitment says, I'll keep going anyway. That mindset is rare, but it's what builds everything that lasts. Anyone can show up when things are going well. Few keep going when nothing responds. You don't need to feel progress to be creating it. You don't need outside confirmation to keep moving. You just need a reason that matters enough to carry you through the silence. And that reason has to come from you, not from the world, not from praise, not from numbers, or comments, or any kind of scoreboard. From you. That reason becomes your anchor. When everything feels uncertain, it holds you in place. If you've been doing the right things and feel stuck, the worst thing you can do is stop. Stopping breaks the rhythm. It resets your effort. It erases momentum that was building under the surface. Instead of changing direction, change your mindset. Stop asking, is this working? And start asking, am I becoming better? Because the answer to that question is almost always yes. You're learning patience, you're learning resilience, you're learning how to trust yourself. That growth is not wasted. The most successful people are not the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who keep going when the struggle offers no reward. They're the ones who stayed when everyone else backed out. They're the ones who decided that results would never determine their effort. That's not because they're fearless. It's because they understood something most people don't. That proof often arrives after the decision to keep going, not before. If you're putting in the effort, showing up honestly, giving what you can, you are not failing. You are preparing. You are building something that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Just because the mirror doesn't show change, or the numbers aren't moving, or the opportunities aren't showing up, doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're in the part where most people give up. It means you're being tested to see if you're serious. Every story of success has a chapter that feels pointless while it's being written. Every journey worth taking will bring you to the edge of uncertainty. And it's in those moments, the ones filled with doubt, confusion, and lack of evidence, that you must continue. Not because you're sure it's working, but because you've decided the work is worth it. People give up too soon because they assume the gap between effort and outcome means failure. But sometimes that gap is just the space where the real transformation is happening. The part that can't be measured yet. The part where your habits are forming. Your thinking is shifting. Your character is being shaped. Those changes don't show up on charts. They don't give you instant feedback, but they are the foundation for everything else. So keep going, even when you don't feel like it, even when nothing's changing on the surface, even when people around you don't understand why you're still trying. Keep going, because the future version of you is depending on the one who finally sees the reward, the one who looks back and says, I'm glad I didn't quit when it got quiet. Progress is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it hides, sometimes it feels like it's gone, but it's there behind every rep, every session, every decision to keep going. When you don't have a single reason left, except the one you started with, you're not behind, you're not broken, you're not wasting your time. You're just in the part where things feel invisible. That part is hard, but it's also sacred. It's where grit is built. It's where belief is tested. It's where the person you've always wanted to become begins to take shape. You won't always have proof, but you'll always have a choice. And if you can learn to keep going when nothing proves it works, that's when it finally will.